Hello there, Year 8. This is your next lesson on Dubai. Could you please have a look at the photograph on the screen right now? And your do now task is to write down what you can remember about this photo from your coasts work in Year 7. You would have seen this photograph or one very similar, or describe what you can see. If you can't remember anything, don't worry, you'll find out in a minute what this is all about, but just say what you see. You've got 5 minutes to get that completed. Pause the video now. Okay, excellent. Here are some answers. Well, back in Year 7, you learnt about coastal management and beach replenishment. This is the building up of a beach. You can see the pebbles, the sediment here being sprayed out of this boat, and it is building up the beach to try and protect the land behind it. Why do we care about this? Well, let's have a look at the next slide. This is something that's been used in Dubai, not so much for beach management, but to reclaim the land. Sand is dredged from the Persian Gulf under the water, and it's redeposited. It's dumped here to form the islands just off the main coastline, and you can see they are all in all sorts of interesting shapes. Kind of in the almost center, you've got the world. You'll notice it has a rough outline like the world. You've got the palm on the left and another version of that on the right. Pretty amazing stuff. So that's got your brain working, thinking a bit more about Dubai. Today's lesson is about something slightly different. That we're going to answer this question: should Dubai's buildings be earthquake resistant? Could you write that title? Don't forget the date, put a question mark at the end, capital D for Dubai. Don't forget that apostrophe as well. Read through the objectives, make sure you've got your equipment, and we will move on. Pause the video now. Okay, so I just need you to watch the video linked on the screen. That is all you need to do right now. It will talk you through and you'll see some information about the Earth and about the inside of the Earth. If we're going to learn about earthquakes, we need to start our learning inside the Earth. And you can see that there are 4 layers to the Earth there: the crust, mantle, outer and inner core. You'll find out a little bit more by watching this video. So pause this video and watch the YouTube video. Okay, so it's time to get your compass out and it's time to get your pencil out and to do your best at drawing that diagram. Please do make sure that the 4 layers of the Earth are roughly the same size as they are there. Try and keep them the right size, otherwise you might end up with one looking wider than it actually is. The 4 boxes on the right there, well, that is for you to add, at the moment, just the names. Just check your memory from that video. It should be fairly simple. Which is the crust, which is the mantle, which is the outer, and which is the inner core. Please do make sure, as it says, that you spread the boxes out and that there are at least 5 lines thick in each of those boxes. And you write these headings at the very top, because underneath it, you're going to be writing some extra information. If you don't leave the room now, you'll be redoing this at a later time. Pause the video and get on with that. Cool. Here we go. Check your answers from those 4. And it's time to add some more detail. Another video for you to watch, just under 2 minutes this one. It'll go through those layers and it'll also talk a little bit about how that structure moves the tectonic plates. So the Earth's surface is divided up into all these sections. It is split, kind of like a jigsaw. All the pieces fitted together to make the solid crust, the surface of the Earth that we stand on. Once you've watched that video, you need to go back to your diagram and fill in the rest of each box. There are 4 bullet points there of things you could write about: the thickness, the temperature, the different rocks or elements mentioned, and, quite importantly, where are the convection currents. These are the reason why the surface we stand on is moving. And the movement is really important for why there are earthquakes. So pause this video, watch the YouTube video, and fill in the rest of that diagram. It should take about 10 minutes in total. Pause the video. Okay, so some information. I'll let you read through these. I don't need to just read them out to you. You can read them. Here's the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. So you can pause the video now, read through all of those, and add anything that you've missed. So I mentioned about tectonic plates, and the Earth is split up like a jigsaw into them. If you see the map there, you'll see some of the main ones. Each red line shows you what we call a plate margin, the boundary between one plate and another. And the black arrows show the movement of the plates. You'll notice some of them are moving towards each other, some are moving apart, some are moving side by side. They are moving all over the place. And as we've said, these move due to currents of heat deep within the Earth, the convection currents. And this causes what we call continental drift. The continents are drifting, they're moving. So just have a little look at this map. Try and work out and remind yourself, where is Dubai? Okay, so Dubai, if you remember, is just up here where my highlighting, my little pointer is. This is Dubai, you'll notice, quite close to one of those plate margins. Yes, look, there we go, circled in yellow. So here's a better map of the area. The yellow circle showing you where Dubai is. You'll notice lots of what we call tectonic activity going on, lots of plate margins and other faults and cracks in the earth around it. You'll notice that it sits on the Arabian plate and that the Eurasian plate is just to the north and the northeast of it. So we've already used this term. Plate margin is a term given to describe the edge of two plates where they meet. And the red lines, yes, we already know that, mark a plate margin. And there's the one closest to Dubai. And this is an important point. Dubai is not on a plate margin, so its risk is extremely low, but it is not geographically very far from one. So, the United Arab Emirates is close to the boundary of the Arabian and Eurasian plates, which push together. We already know that. The boundary of these two plates, known as the Zagros mountain belt of Iran, is one of the most seismically active regions of the world. Seismically active, meaning there are a lot of earthquakes there. Okay, one final video to watch today. If you type that link in or follow that link, and there are 4 questions and a challenge question at the bottom that you can take. The 4 questions you can answer all from watching the video. The challenge question you can't. You might have to think about that a little bit more. Maybe even go away and do a bit of research if you have a minute or two to spare. Could you write full sentence answers to these questions, please? So for question number 1, how many people were hurt in Dubai? You put a number in, were hurt in Dubai. Second question, people were worried about the earthquake because, and then you answer it, and so on and so on. Pause this video now. Okay, some answers, please check and correct them. Nobody was hurt in Dubai. Thankfully, nobody was hurt at all. The structures stood, no buildings were destroyed. There were a few chairs fell over. There was some minor damage, but nobody was hurt, thankfully. Why were people worried about this particular earthquake? Well, they were worried because they, for the first thing, weren't used to feeling earthquakes. Plus also, they're in lots of very tall tower blocks, and they were very worried that those buildings could fall down. What did the Dubai authorities change as a result? They changed what are called building regulations, the rules, the laws that all people have to follow if they want to build a building. And the key one was that buildings of 10 or more stories were now 1/3 more resistant to earthquakes. Now that only applies, as they said, to new buildings, not to existing ones. Which then leads to number 4, why are some owners of existing buildings concerned? Well, because the people that work and live in their buildings are now worried. They may have to spend, therefore, lots of money having their buildings made more resistant. The challenge, why might drilling for oil in Dubai have added to the problem? There's increasing evidence. It's not 100% confirmed yet, but there's a lot of scientific evidence that when you drill for oil, water that's produced and used in that process is often pumped back into the earth. And this seems to make earthquakes stronger. It seems to make them stronger, so therefore more likely to cause damage, to cause deaths and injury. Okay, to finish this off, that was our little look through, just quite a brief and quick skim through, quite a lot of information there. But the key summary is on the board now. If you could fill in the gaps and copy and complete this, that would be great. I'm going to ask you to pause the video, and after that, I'm going to be putting up the words that I used. I'd advise that you copy and complete this yourself. Then you use my words to check yours and make sure you've got them in the right place or that you've got the right kind of thing. And then I'll give you the answer at the end. So copy and complete this. I'm going to pause now, and then I'm going to reveal those words. I'd really like you to try and do it without using those words first. Pause the video now. Okay, so hopefully you gave that a go. Then you use those words when they came up to check what you've written and make sure that you have the right sort of words. And here are the answers to finally check what you've written. Dubai is located close to a plate margin, where the Arabian and Eurasian plates meet. Their movement causes earthquakes. As a result, Dubai has changed their laws to make sure that buildings are more earthquake resistant. Key point here is this word resistant, to resist something. You'll sometimes hear the word earthquake proof used. There is no such thing as a building that is earthquake proof, because the strongest earthquakes in the world, it doesn't really matter what buildings are made of, how they're made, buildings will be destroyed in some of the strongest earthquakes. There is no such thing as an earthquake proof building. Resistance, though, means that they are at least going to survive and are more likely to survive. Okay, anyway, that's the end of this lesson. Take care, and I'll see you next time.